Hey everybody, I am joined right now by a name you know, Chris Sabin. You know him from his history in the X Division, Tag Team Division. He's one of the staples of Impact Wrestling. He has a big match coming up at Slammiversary on July 17th against Moose. We're going to talk all about that, where he's been, what's to come, and everything in between. Chris, how you doing today?
Good. How about yourself?
Not too bad.
Good.
I mentioned you know you're back. You have a big match coming up against Moose. I'm gonna talk about the fun part of this first. You use your shoes as a weapon to make a statement after you sent him, running. What was the feeling, being back in front of, the lack of a crowd? But what's the feeling? Going into this match, knowing that you're going to be performing in the ring in a match, back in front of fans after, over a year so far.
Yeah, it's a little nerve-wracking, that's for sure. The thought of it, I will say, it does give me some butterflies in my stomach, but at the same time, I'm super excited. We've been waiting for this for a long time. I think the fans have been waiting for this for a long time, obviously, and it's going to be on another level. You're going to feel the energy of the people, and this is something we haven't felt in a long time. So very excited.
You have a career that's close to 20 years. Is it weird to say that you have, something that makes you nervous like that, returning from in front of a crowd? Because you've worked in front of all different types of audiences, different promotions, internationally, Is that strange to kind of think wow, I'm still nervous about something after this far into the game?
I mean, maybe to some people it is. To me, it isn't. To me, I'm more worried if I don't get nervous, because I think getting those butterflies and being a little nervous is a byproduct of wanting to do the best I could possibly do. It's a byproduct of putting pressure on myself and, trying to force myself to be the best possible Chris Sabin I can be. So I would be more worried if I wasn't nervous, but that's just me. Everyone's different.
Mm-hmm. Your issues with Moose have been well documented. You came back this month and sent him running, but he's actually responsible for you being off of TV for, better part of a month, a little bit longer. But what does it mean for you to come back in this way and, kind of have some long-term storytelling built into it too? Because it kind of, gives you a bit of a jumping off point instead of coming back, starting fresh, going into such a big event like Slammiversary does.
Yeah, absolutely. There's reasoning behind what's happening. Moose took out James Storm, my tag team partner. He injured him, and he hasn't been seen since. During the number one contender match, where the winner would have went on to wrestle Kenny Omega, Moose and I were the last two guys in that match, and he decided to focus on my knees, which caused me, to be out for about a month just to make sure everything was good with my knees, because my problems with my knees are well documented. So, there's a reason behind all of it, and it's hyped, man. It's a Slammiversary, July 17th.
I talked a little bit about, finding things that make you nervous. How important is it for you at this stage to maybe establish yourself as a storyteller? Because you're known as a decorated X Division wrestler, tag team. You mentioned you just teamed up with James of Beer Guns. How important is it for you to, kind of establish this next chapter? And it seems like it's going to be more story-based and less just based on in-ring stuff.
Yeah, I think it's extremely important, especially for the longevity of my career. I'm 39 now. I've been wrestling for 21 years. And one of the things I find that you have to make a shift with is you kind of have to alter your in-ring style while at the same time altering your storytelling abilities. And you have to have, it's best to have both. But I think as you're older, I think you need to emphasize one more than the other, because, my body just can't do the things that my body could do, 20 years ago. So, it's absolutely a necessity.
Yeah, and I think, it caught my interest because I know you mentioned your knee issues and, coming back from such a severe injury, the same one, you kind of adjusted, but I mean, what's the difference between, if you can break it down, like what's the difference between coming back from those and more or less favoring your knee, or just working differently compared to working differently because you know that you are getting older and the rest of your body is starting to slow down, and it's not just focusing on one limb or one part of your body that, you said was hurt, hampered by injury?
Yeah, I think that, well, I kind of, the biggest difference between then and now is that I kind of have like a little checklist before, I might do something in the ring, and that checklist has to be, if I feel it's going to be risky enough to put me, to have a chance of injuring me, then I'm not going to do it, So I think I just have to put a little bit more thought into what I do out there. And before I wouldn't. I'm just like, yep, I'll do whatever. Let's do this. When you're young and you feel invincible, that's, you have a different mindset as opposed to, a mindset when you're trying to preserve yourself and your body while at the same time put on good matches.
When you came back, as I mentioned, you sent Moose packing, but you challenged him on the spot. You didn't get your wish, but you said, what better place than here, what better time than now? Was that, or was that not a Guerrilla Radio reference?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. For sure. Straight off the Rage Against the Machine. Yeah, Battle of Los Angeles, yeah.
I always pop for that stuff, and I just, it caught my ear. I was like, okay, cool. Always got to appreciate little nods to...
Little Easter egg there, little wrestling Easter egg for the people who can see it.
Part of Slammiversary's appeal over the past, now 2 events, has been the world changes and the free agency stuff. And while you weren't part of that, your return last year with Alex made headlines. It was quite the surprise. You guys got to have your in-ring return together as the Motor City Machine Guns, that open challenge against the Rascals. You caught everybody by surprise. This year you're going in with a storyline, with a match, with, weeks of anticipation, weeks of build. In addition to, just finding a new wrestling style and talking about injuries and stuff. Like, how has the past year gone for you? Because you showed up as a surprise. You're going into it with the attention, with the spotlight. How are you approaching this year differently?
I think it's just been a year of adaptation. Unexpected things have happened over and over. With when I first returned with Alex Shelley, that was, I thought that was going to be like more of a long-term thing, us sticking together, wrestling for Impact for a while, maybe branching out, who knows? But and then Alex actually had other things going on. I ended up going on without him. Impact and myself moved on without him. And then here comes James Storm. So, all right, let's do this. James Storm and I. And then obviously circumstances happen, and James Storm isn't around anymore. So, this is just a year. It's been a year of adaptation, but at the same time progress. So I think that when unexpected things happen, how you react to them, means a lot to your problem solving skills and who you are as a person. So I think just all this unexpected things happen and being able to adapt, it's all been positive for me, and I think it's just made progress, and I think this has just been a year of progress.
What's been the biggest positive coming out of the team with James Storm? Because obviously that was a situation that was unexpected. You thought you were going to be with Alex a little bit longer than you were, but keeping on that positive note, What was the biggest positive you took from teaming with James Storm?
I think just the chemistry that we had in the ring and backstage. I think James and I just had this really cool chemistry. Kind of TNA original thing going on. And I thought that was really cool. I thought that helped the Chris Sabin character.
And Chris Sabin has been around a very long time. You mentioned, being originals. You've seen a lot of different changes from roster to, agents, everything in between. I'm just curious for your thoughts as somebody who's been there in different phases in your career. Like, what's the biggest thing that, you really feel like Impact has going for it as a company right now? Whether it's talent or behind the scenes, what are you really, getting excited for going into what is going to be another new year and another potentially huge event with Slammiversary as far as, the free agent perspective? There's tons of possibilities. There's lots of people talking about Impact Wrestling in a positive way. How can you, best highlight what you're excited for in the next year?
Yeah, I'm just excited with the state of the company as it is now. Impact Wrestling is more of a team now than I've ever seen it. Obviously, I wasn't there from 2014 to 2019, but I was there for a long time, and I think that the company now is everybody's more on the same page while remaining individuals. More than any other time in the history of the company, and I think that everybody more so has a team mindset where they don't just want themselves to succeed. They want everyone else to succeed because they realize that their success depends on everyone else's success. It's a group effort, and I think there's just this team mindset that hasn't been there before for the company, and that's what I'm really excited to see where it goes from here.
In terms of the world changing again, is there anybody that you maybe want to see join the company? Anybody that, could really help spark the next phase of Impact Wrestling? I know that's kind of, there's a lot of names out there, but anybody that, you just maybe want to work with again, never have yet?
I'm not sure. Who that person would be, but I'm definitely excited to sit back and watch and see who it is. That's for sure. I'd like it to be a surprise.
Well, I will say nobody really knew anything last year until it actually happened. So I think, and I say this quite a bit, during the pandemic era, that's probably my favorite thing about shows, if there is a favorite thing to have, is the lack of spoilers. So you get to find out when everybody else does. So we'll have to find out on July 17th what happens next. But going into your match with Moose, if people are refamiliarizing themselves with your work as a solo act, or just a match you're proud of that you've had in the past year, is there one that you would point to that, really best highlights your work, whether it's throughout your career or one that you've had recently that you think people should give a second chance?
I had a match because Moose is a lot larger than me. I'm considered the smaller side as far as wrestlers go, but Moose is a big guy, so it's going to be a big guy, little guy dynamic. And I had a match with Samoa Joe. I think it was No Surrender 2005. That Joe was a lot bigger than me at that time, and I think that displays what I can do against a bigger guy really well. Sure, that was in 2005. That was over 15 years ago, but at the same time, I'm still that same person, and it just shows what I'm capable of against a big guy.
And I'm sure you get it quite a bit, but option C, got to throw that one out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, Bully Ray was obviously way bigger than I am. He was way bigger than Moose, and I was able to beat him for the TNA World Heavyweight title. So I am capable of taking down big guys.
We'll have to wait and find out what happens. That sounds like a stern warning from Moose. We'll see what happens at Slammiversary. Who shows up, who ends up standing tall. Catch Chris every week, Thursdays on Impact Wrestling on Access, and catch him against Moose at Slammiversary on July 17th on pay-per-view. Chris, thanks very much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it, Bill. Take care, man.